Welcome, everybody. John Zager. Good morning, good morning. Let's see, what time is it? Driving, so I'm having a look. 11:17, Sunday morning, eastern slope of Colorado. 78 degrees, and you're correct, I am heading southwest. So, common sense psychology today. You know, I do blogs under 3 different labels: common sense psychology, common sense neuroscience, Navigator's Handbook. And I try to keep the blogs according to which topic or title that I'm using for that particular day. Today is common sense psychology. I might reference to that every day just so that you guys can follow along. You know, which ones are really neuroscience, which ones are just clinical psychology. And the Navigator's Handbook is kind of my, compiling of years and years of both of those together, along with just life's lessons. So it's kind of fun to keep track of that. I'm just driving over here to the rec center parking lot. I don't know how crowded it's going to be, but I want to do my podcast, and this seems to be a good location sometimes. Do you ever wake up in the morning? Yeah, waking up in the morning is a good thing. I agree. Yeah, I like to wake up in the morning. But have you ever woke up in the morning and you have a pain somewhere? Let's say you had the pain like yesterday or last week, and you go to yourself, I wonder what's wrong. I wonder why that pain is still there. Why hasn't that gone away? Hey, there's nobody in the parking lot, so we should be able to get away with this podcast. Or have you ever woke up in the morning and you have a new pain? That's pretty funny. You have a new pain, a new discomfort, a new feeling, sensation that, just isn't very pleasant. And you're not quite sure what's going on or where it's from or anything like that. And you just ask yourself, wonder what that's about. Wonder where that came from. Wonder what's wrong. Right? Or have you, been roaming around in your daily activities and, you've got a ache of some kind. It's been around for, 2-3 weeks, let's say. And you're not quite understanding it. And you're saying to yourself, why is that still here? I wonder what's wrong. I wonder if it's more serious than that. I wonder if I tore a ligament, tore a tendon, whatever your mind goes to. Right? Have you ever, in talking, I'm just moving my seat back, you guys, if I made noise, sorry. Have you ever been talking to friends or acquaintances or somebody, and instead of talking about, the day's activities, or what you're up to, or what's exciting in your life, or, what's making you happy, or changes you're making, you talk to that person about your misfortune. Your lack, your pain, your discomfort, your financial issues, your inability to accomplish something that you've been really wanting to do? You ever had that happen? Have you ever thought to yourself without saying out loud, gosh darn it, nothing seems to be going right recently. Wonder what's wrong. I have been a little more moody than normal. I've been a little short with people. I snapped at that person the other day. Things of that nature. They're not the positive. They're not the stuff that, I don't know, could be about better things in your life. I'm charging up my iPad, so I have it plugged into the cigarette lighter with an inverter, and I just noticed that you might be picking up that whine from the inverter. I don't know, I guess we'll find out when I play it back, but I'll pay attention to that for the next time. There's another good example right there, what I just said. I'm trying to pay attention to how I come across and sound with you guys, and here I am worried about there's a little bit of a whine to this inverter. Well, guess what? You know what? I'm fairly certain you guys can all overlook that. And I shouldn't even have to be apologetic for that. But that's another example. What about weight? People are pretty conscious of their weight these days. And, you probably periodically, I don't know, maybe daily take your weight and, do you obsess about it? Does it end up being something that you're always thinking about? Or not, I guess. So the point being, common sense psychology, is that that's called anxiety. More specifically, that's in a category called generalized anxiety disorder. You obsess about stuff. Generalized anxiety disorder. A lot of people would not give a lot of thought to waking up in the morning and you have some discomfort. Maybe you slept wrong. Is your first day, right? Is your first day that you wake up with some pain or discomfort you've not had before? Is that the time to become worrisome and concerned? Probably not. Right? Probably not. And people with generalized anxiety disorder, probably obsess about things. All right? So if you do that, that becomes an aspect of your personality, how you think, act, and feel, right? And your personality has something to do with, remember we've talked about this 100 times, your personality has something to do with upregulating and downregulating genes that may cause ill health. So if you have a generalized anxiety disorder where you obsess about things that other people would not, you're constantly at attention. You have heightened emotions around stuff. You try to interpret and analyze and process stuff other people aren't even doing. They don't care. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, once in a while I get a pain somewhere, I don't know where, but it goes away sooner or later. Well, that's not having a generalized anxiety disorder. That's not having a personality trait that may not be in your best interest when it comes to upregulating, downregulating genes. So, number one, are you that kind of a person? Are you the type of person that is always processing stuff? Are you the type of person who's always analyzing stuff? You know, analyzing in the sense of, wow, you know, that's been around for 4 days. I don't think it's supposed to be around for 4 days. I wonder what's causing that. Maybe I should look that up. I wonder if the internet has, you know, all of that chatter. Chatter, chatter, chatter. That kind, and we're looking at today one emotion, anxiety, that is overblown, called generalized anxiety disorder, that causes you to be overly analytic, and it changes your personality to where you're on sort of a heightened alert system. In your life, in your day, in your week, in your job, at your home, you know, whatever. And that's not healthy. And that's the kind of thing that causes other issues that can create disease. Now, there's a lot of people out there who overanalyze things and have generalized anxiety disorders, and they obsess. Now you're kind of bordering on obsessive compulsive personality disorder, right? You know, more mental health, emotional stuff. Remember, we're trying to focus more in that direction with the neuroscience stuff. There's a lot of people who try to cover that up by overeating, by over shopping, by, I don't know what the word is, by over sexing. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody smokes a cigarette anymore, but, you know, they smoke cigarettes, they smoke pot, they do drugs, they drink alcohol. So if you have a disorder or a trait, right, and what we're saying, what we're describing this morning, could be, maybe a trait, could be, maybe a disorder. It depends how much you're doing it. I don't know. And then it could evolve into, you know, how are you trying to cover up that emotion? And, you know, all those addictive qualities I just ran through. So if you end up trying to cover up that emotion of generalized anxiety disorder or whatever, you know, by doing all these other addictive behaviors, you're now 2 steps further into attracting disease. Neuroscience. The generalized anxiety disorder is just plain old, you know, psychology, clinical psychology. But when you take it a step further into trying to cover it up or not have it surface, now you're talking about another one, another trait or disorder on top of the first one, and now you are changing your personality in such a manner that you can attract disease. Make sense? I mean, we could go on to a third one and a fourth one and just see how people may end up having different traits that become personality disorders that I guess they would be expediting, attracting disease. Because I'm sorry, I thought you guys understood, but because of the fact that what you think, where you put your energy, is what you're going to end up with. So if you're into negative thinking, all of what we just talked about, traits, the disorders, the addictions, all of that stuff is negative thinking. You start having those kinds of negative thoughts in a more than often manner, you're now putting your brain into attracting disease. Because we know you don't just end up sick, right? We understand that. You don't just walk around one day and, oh boy, I'm sick. It just doesn't work that way. You did something, you thought something to attract disease, ill health, or sickness. And therefore, you can change all of that by not having obsessive thinking, by not having, the generalized anxiety disorder, by not having addictions, by not overanalyzing, by not trying to fix everything. Everything doesn't need to be fixed. Most people, and I use that pretty loosely there, but most people in the world don't try to fix things. They just go on about their daily activities and whatever happens, happens. I'm drinking iced decaf tea. This is just regular tea today. And boy, it's really nice. So here's my challenge. Here's my challenge to you guys. You have to, number one, be able to sit down, get a piece of paper and pencil or a crayon. I don't care. Put down on a piece of paper or on the blackboard or on the whiteboard or on a coloring board, I don't care, what your traits are. What do you do that creates your personality? What specific things make up your personality? And then list underneath there, blah, 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 blah. And then note how often you utilize each one of those. Right? If, for instance, you find out that you have several categories, 2 or 3, I don't know, and they're not in your best interest. Under each thing that makes up your personality, you're going to subcategorize that as a positive or negative thing. If you view it as a negative thing, then you're going to say why. You're going to say, well, I'm obsessing about this stuff. I'm worrying about stuff that I don't need to worry about. If we're just looking at physical things, for instance, the body heals itself. Because you have a pain or a discomfort doesn't mean you have to go to a doctor, doesn't mean you have to obsess about it, doesn't mean anything. It just means allow it to be there, surrender to it, so to speak, so it's not an emotional block, and allow it to heal itself. Not to get off into a tangent to where it's all that you're trying to do is process this discomfort day after day after day. Okay? So, here's the direction I'm kind of thinking. Allow yourself to just live your life without having your emotions take over. Another way of saying that is, do you have far too much drama in your life? People who have far too much drama in their life usually have some sort of emotional problem going on, right? I'm just saying, what would happen if you just got up in the morning, regardless of what was going on when you woke up, and you just went on about your day? And you took care of business and had some fun, did some business, ate well, exercised well. What would happen? Can you spend the rest of this day? What time is it right now? Okay, so it looks like it's 11:40 here, Eastern Colorado, Sunday morning. Can you spend the rest of this day up until the time you go to sleep tonight and just allow the day to unfold? Whatever's going on with your body is just going on with your body. You don't need to go to an emergency room, or what do they call those places? Outpatient clinics or something? I don't ever go to them, so I don't know what they are. Can you just go on about your day and interact with your family and friends or colleagues today about things that are positive and not about things that you're allowing to bug you? Can you do that? Our thoughts make us well. So why is it that we practice more about the negative thoughts? Most of the time we're thinking more negative thoughts than we're thinking positive thoughts. If you break an arm or something, the hospital, that's what they do. That's what doctors and nurses do, is they fix parts. They don't know anything about terminal illness and, death and dying diseases. They don't have a clue. But if you break an arm, you go to one of those places and, I don't know, they put a stick on it or something and fix it. They're back in the long time ago thinking of doing medicine. But so anyway, that's my challenge to you guys, is for today, the rest of the day, until you fall asleep tonight, not have a negative thought. And the ones I'm thinking about are, the ones you are aware of, things that are happening in your life or in your body from yesterday or last week or the month before. What are you thinking about something that happened in your world 2 months ago for? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's a negative thought. That attracts disease. Why do you have to... from 4 days ago, you had an interaction with a friend and it didn't go real well, and you're still processing it. What are you processing it for? What do you think's going to happen? I'll use the same example. You had an interaction with a friend or a colleague or a family member from, 3 months ago, and you're still processing it. You wake up in the morning and you're processing it. Just open the door to disease, you guys. So anyway, you get the idea of what I'm talking about. pretty certain you guys understand. And it's real important stuff. This is a great little podcast. Don't discount this podcast. Don't discount things that seem like, oh, that's too simple. Well, if it's too simple, why are you having negative thoughts? So in the near future, we're going to continue working on emotional, mental health kinds of things, and what it has to do with neuroscience and self-healing. We've been staying on topic the past week, and I'm going to try to stay on topic for the next week coming up. And we're going to look at issues like this. We might even come back and look at this very issue real soon, because I just think it's important enough that we slow down enough to understand why we're having negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So we're going to get some rain here today. We got rain this morning. We got rain last night. Not very much, but they say we're going to get a little rain this afternoon. We'll have to see. It's still a beautiful Sunday. I'm excited about it. And God bless everybody. Take care of one another, and I'll look forward to talking to you all again real soon. See you. Bye.